Hi. So, good morning, InSpirit. Wow. Well, showed up here for a little colorful talk. No, we may not be going there. But we're going to be talking about some color. And I had no idea what an appealing topic this would be till I saw Reverend Brian Akers, who drove thousands of miles to get here to hear this. Man. So, as I'm walking around with an order of service, this is on request of, everybody has to do with the band because they get a little excited when we cut them out of something, because we don't follow the correct order. So there you have it. So today's, the June theme overall is creating authentic power. And today's theme talk title is The Colors of Authentic Power. I mean, colors are signposts, right? They're pointers. Colors evoke feelings in us. They use it in advertising. Okay, they get reeled in with different color bait all the time, don't we? And we use it, we use it in literature. We use it in speech. We say things like, feeling blue today. Yeah, it's kind of a gray area. There's a little black cloud hanging over my head. So it's just this nonverbal communication form that it's everywhere. We don't even think about it. When you're driving down the road, you see a yellow sign. Do you care what shape it is? No, you just automatically slow down. You see red, you're standing on the brakes, you're stopping because we're sensing danger, because that's how we're conditioned with these colors. And we use it to color our houses, don't we? Now, if you live in, South Orange County, you got restrictions on what color your house can be. But they can't stop you from making it yours inside, can they? Come on, who's got purple rooms? Yeah, we all know that. Yeah, yellow, blue, we got them all. So, why do we do that? Is it something, we just can't help it, can we? That's just what happens. We use those phrases. We use those colors to point to things. And they're very strong. And they are powerful. Our clothes. Look around. Nobody's wearing the same thing. Now, I'm going to explain to you in a little bit that, I'm colorblind. So personally, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, is this guy just another pretty face, or can he really talk about color? If he's colorblind. Well, I just want you to know that I never, ever, ever leave the house in the morning without my wife's permission. So it's okay. We get beyond this somehow. Who reads Science of Mind? Because in the June edition of Science of Mind, we have this article about Gary Zukav. And he gives us his version of 5 steps to authentic power. His first step is become aware of the frightened parts of your personality. If you don't have any frightened parts to be aware of, God bless you. I'd like to talk to you after the service. Step 2 for Gary Zukav is tune into the physical sensations of your emotions. There we go again. Physical sensations coming from our emotions. Number 3 is when you feel a painful emotion, choose to act with love. We're coming back to that. And then the 4th step is experiment with authentic power. He says, don't take my word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Do it yourself. See how that authentic power feels. Try it out. And step 5, see other people as souls. Well, that's pretty easy for us here in this teaching, isn't it? That's what we do. We know that we are each and every one a unique expression of God. And we, each of us, bring to this world, to this life, the unique gifts of God in our own personal fashion, in that manner that only we can bring each of those gifts. Every gift you bring, every gift you display, every God quality that exudes from you is brought to this life in a manner such that only you can bring it that way. So, that's easy enough for us to do. Remember step number 3, when you feel a painful emotion. I'm not sure it was really a painful emotion, but along the lines of being colorblind. Anybody else in here colorblind? Fess up, because I'm going to tell you something. 8% of the men in the world are colorblind. Okay, so if you didn't put your hand up, that's okay, I understand. The closet is for people who just don't want to speak out loud about their colorblindness. It's not really colorblind, by the way. That's a misnomer, okay? We're not blind to color. I can see all kinds of different beautiful colors as I look out here. And if you hold up a red balloon and a blue balloon, I'm going to be able to tell you which one is which. Now, as those shades start getting a little more, nuanced, then I'm going to run into some problems. But we see color. We just don't talk about it the same way that people who don't have color blindness do. And that's kind of a funny thing, too. It's the only thing in the world I can tell you that I have, and you're going to ask me to prove it. Been there? I'm colorblind. Yeah? What color's my shirt? Now, if I walked in and somebody said to you, this is Bill and he's blind, you wouldn't hold up 3 fingers and say, how many fingers do you see, right? But when you're colorblind, they ask you those sorts of things. And then some challenges. If you're of the non-colorblind persuasion, there comes that awkward moment when your friend shows you his, probably, version of the successful completion of the Rubik's Cube. I discovered I was colorblind, and this is when I discovered the power that comes with color. I discovered I was colorblind when I was about 18, maybe 19, somewhere in there. I was driving down a road, Foothill Boulevard up in the San Gabriel Valley, which now it's, political correctness to call it Old Route 666. Oh, not 666, is it? Route 66. And I'm driving down the road in my sister's car that I borrowed, and I look over and I'm going by a car lot, and there's this gorgeous hunk of metal parked there, right in the front. They do that. They put the ones that are really going to strike you, they put it right there in the front where you can't miss it. It's this most gorgeous baby blue Oldsmobile 88. Now, think back, to a century ago when the Olds 88, that was a nice big car, and it was beautiful. Baby blue, are you kidding? And I had to stop. I had to go look at this thing. Of course, I go in and the salesman explains to me that, what are you doing here, kid? 18, 19, you can't buy a car, because back in those days you couldn't. You need to have somebody else help you out signing on the loan, taking responsibility for the money. So I ran home and got my sister, and I'm raving to her about this car, and we drive over there, and she looks at it, and she sees how excited I am, and she says, yeah, okay, so let's buy this car, and she signs with me. Well, I drove that car around for 9 or 10 months, and although that was my home, I was in the military at the time, and I was stationed right down here at Camp Pendleton, so I'm doing a lot of driving, and when I'm not on the base or at home and running all around, kids do, so I'm putting some miles on. Then I get the call that I'm going to go overseas. So I'm thinking, what do I do with this beautiful car while I'm gone? I can't just leave it on the street. So I call my brother-in-law, married to my other sister, who had, as it turns out, the same almost make and model of car. He had an Olds 88. It was just a year or two different. But the parts were interchangeable. And this was important because he was having mechanical difficulties with his car. So I said, hey, I got the perfect solution. I'm going to leave my car with you. You can drive it while I'm gone. And I'll be back in 13 months, and by then you'll have been able to afford to fix your own car. But he looked at me like I had two heads. He says, are you serious? I wouldn't be seen dead in that car. I said, what are you talking about? He says, man, you got to be the only guy I know that's crazy enough to drive around Southern California in a purple Oldsmobile. Then, of course, he told me what that, the implications of that. And I thought, well, you know what? That's not going to stop me. When I come back, I'm driving that car. And I came back and I did drive that car until the wheels fell off. But I realized then that the power of color. Because to me, that car was it was like a powder baby blue. It was gorgeous. To him, it was ugly. And I thought, well, it raised that emotion in him, but it raised the exact opposite emotion in me. And that's how colors go. They can raise positive emotions, and for every positive one, we can find somebody, if we seek hard enough, we'll find some negative things to say about each color. Spoiler alert, if it's the negative side of color you're looking for, we're probably not going to do well here this morning. Okay, because for me, the authentic power is pointed to by color. Color isn't pointing to negative things for me. It's pointing to the power that's inherent in those God qualities as divine creatures, as manifestations of God, as living, breathing, having our movement in this thing that we call consciousness that grounds all being, whether we call it God or spirit or creative intelligence, whatever it is. But as beings within that, we have that power. And sometimes we get nudged toward that because we forget about it, but we'll see something. It's not just color. This could have been the aromas of authentic power, or the lyrics or the lilting music of authentic power. But we find something that strikes a chord in us, and today it's color, that carries us beyond where we're stuck and carries us into that vast allness that is God, and the power that lays within that is available to each of us at a moment's notice. Back to Gary Zukav. Because he said, when you feel a painful emotion, choose to act with love. So I wondered why he just mentioned a painful emotion. And then I realized, because he goes on to say, when I say choose love instead of fear, I'm not speaking poetically or philosophically. I'm talking about specifically, consciously choosing to act from a loving part of your personality. Because if it's a non-painful emotion, and we have those too, right? If it's a non-painful emotion, it doesn't have to lead to love. It probably is coming from love. Of course, the Miracles tells us there's only two types of things going on, right? There's love, and there's a call for love. So if it's a non-painful emotion, then the color still strikes it out for us very easily. Another thing about being colorblind, though, is it's difficult to help save the planet if you can't tell the difference between green and brown. I mean, sometimes it's just hard for us to figure where to put our energy. On a good note, though, got any nutritionists here? Anybody who knows anything about nutrition? Because nutritionists will tell you if you want to eat healthy, if you want to keep your body temple as healthy as you can, what do? You eat colorful food. Yeah, just look at your plate. If you look at your plate and it's full of color, you're eating healthy. And I'm smart enough to take advantage of that. Just yesterday for lunch, I had a bowl of M&Ms. I know how to take advantage of the power of color. So we got lots of colors, right? But I want to start with white and black. And I start with them because white, it's generally agreed, is a combination of all colors. You mix every color in the world together, well, especially the primary ones, because everything else comes from that anyway, you're going to have white. And then some people say that black is the absence of color. Other people say that black is also a combination of all the colors, only the density is such that the light can't separate them out, because there's really no such thing as color. Color is not a material thing. Color is a refraction. It's when the light radiates and brings forth a color into our energy field, into our vision field. Not bad for a colorblind guy, huh? But, so black and white can either one could be called the total of all the colors. And I only mention that because those are serious pointers to power, right? White, purity, protection, reverence. I mean, if that's not power, I'm not sure what is. And then, I mean, look at black. Black is elegant. Black is mysterious. Black is beautiful. I mean, and these things represent power. And if you don't think they do, ask the guy or the gal who drives the black Beamer or black Porsche why they chose that car. And they'll give you 100 reasons, but really it comes down to this. That's power. That's power. And then the other colors that come from that, they're all full of power too, right? Red, passion, right? Passion, danger, anger, love. But these are all powerful emotions, and they're all brought to us by red. Green has the power of new life and livingness and nature behind it. Brown has the power of the earth, Mother Earth. It's brown. We represent it that way. And that's all the power that comes to us from this planet. But yellow, happiness, joy, spontaneity, hope. So from where I stand, all colors, with the possible exception of gray. Okay, because gray is kind of like, it's true, it's in between there, but I'm not sure that I feel powerful when I see that. I feel sometimes ambivalent, and you know how they say it's a gray area, blah, blah, blah. But even in that, there's power, because there are things that for certain people that brings out the power in the world. So all these colors all contribute to that feeling of power that we know, that we access, that is ours, at our disposal, as much of it as we can possibly embody. How much power is available to us? All of it. All of the power of the divine is available to us, depending on our ability to recognize it, to surrender to it, to embody it, to accept it, to let it play forth through us, to fill us and overflow us and come radiating forth from us in our daily affairs. And the colors, of course, are only ways to kind of get us there mentally, or to suggest to us, or if we're forgetting our power and our divinity, they'll remind us of it. There's another, not really a color, I guess. Anybody ever seen a diamond? Aren't they beautiful? Wow. It's no wonder. Diamonds represent what? Like weddedness. Isn't that what we use them for mostly? Is it that oneness, that community, that commitment, that promise that we're going through this hand in hand together, whatever it is. And I see a diamond as being clear. Turns out diamonds aren't all clear. That most diamonds, almost all of them, have little bits of color in them. And that's why the jeweler takes that little thing that he gouges his eye out with and puts that diamond up there. He's looking for colors. What colors are there and how much of them are there? Or she is. But basically, when we think of diamond, we think of clear. It's a clear color. It's a non-color. But it is the clarity, isn't it? You look at diamond, is there any doubt in your mind that you're looking at clarity? Your vision is bringing you straight through to the fact of the matter, to the truth that this is perfectly clear. And when we can transfer that into our spiritual practice, knowing that it is perfectly clear, we've come a long way, even without the color. But there's a story. Russell Conwell tells a story of a man named Ali Hafed back in ancient Persia. This guy owned a very large farm that had orchards, grain fields, and gardens. Had it all. Big, huge farm. And he was very happy and he was very content because he was like the wealthiest guy in that section of the area. Well, it just so happens that a wise man from the east, or in some stories it's a Buddhist monk, visits him, and during the course of conversation, he says, "Yeah, you really got it going on here, Ali. The only possible way anybody could ever be richer than this would be if he had a diamond field." So that night, Ali goes to bed. He's no longer a wealthy, contented man. He's now impoverished and he's wounded and he's thinking, really? I don't have enough. So he stews on it for a while and he sells his farm, sells everything he owns. He takes that money and his couple of burros and he goes traveling the world. He's going to find a diamond field, so there can be no question about it. That there can be nobody richer, because the wise man had told him, why, just one diamond, you could buy all of this and everything else in this country. I mean, that's the difference in wealth. Well, he searched and he searched and he searched. And he went the world over and he looked everywhere and he left no stone unturned, but he couldn't find any diamonds. And eventually, he was a despondent, despairing, unhappy man at his death. He never did accomplish that. Meanwhile, the wise man from the east goes back to passing back through, and he stops at this very same place, and he looks up on the hearth of the fireplace, and here's this sparkling, clear glass thing in a rock that's sitting there. And he says, "Wow, where'd that come from?" And the guy who had bought the property from Ali says, "Well, I was out on my camel, and his hoof kicked this rock, and as it rolled over, I saw this bit of glass in here, and it was so pretty, I just wanted to bring it forth." He says, "Wow," he says, "that's a diamond. That's a huge diamond." And I know this sounds like one of those stories that you just pull off because it sets a tone. This is a true story. This is I've got to look for it, Golconda diamond mine. This is where the Hope diamond came from. This is where like 6 of the 10 most famous diamonds in the world came from. Why do I bring that up? Well, I bring that up just to let you know, whether it's because of color or because of something that doesn't have color, whatever points you to seeking that power should not have to lead you from where you are. You know the saying, wherever you go, there you are? That's the truth. We don't have to travel far and wide. Well, some of us do. We don't have to travel far and wide to find our power. It's right here. It's right where we are. Any given moment. It's exactly where we are. It's who we are. It's what we are. It's the only thing that we are. We are children of God. We have all the power. All we have to do is recognize it, surrender to it, embody it, and allow it to come forth through us. When I think of power, it's not so much the power. I mean, really, do we need power? Power, in the normal sense of the word, It's just chimerical, okay? There's no such thing. It's elusive. It's ephemeral. It doesn't exist. It's only very temporal. True, authentic power, that's the power of God. And when I think of the power of God, the reason I think that I want it is because of the peace that it brings me. The peace it allows you to have in your life, in your affairs, in your world, in every minute of every day. If you have the power of God and are using it as such and availing yourself of it, you have peace. In her book, Every Day I Pray, Iyanla Vanzant wrote a poem about exactly that. And I'd like to leave you with that. The power of peace. Today, I decree there is but one power and one presence operating in my mind, my body, my life, and all of my affairs. I decree that the presence and the power of peace consumes me. I shall decree a thing, and it shall be established unto me. The melody of peace now sings in my soul. I now dance the dance of peaceful freedom. I now radiate the love and peace of the divine. I now draw from every experience the highest and the best. I am confident, peace-filled, and spiritually powerful. There is a lily in the valley, and all is well in my soul. I now decree it so. And if you will, just take a minute and just go within and just know that right here, right now, in this very place, in this sacred place, and in every place you ever are, that becomes a sacred place by virtue of you being there. By virtue of you, as an expression of the divine, being there, that makes every place sacred. And in this sacred place, knowing that all of the power of God is at our disposal, and as it rushes into our very being, as we allow it to permeate every cell of our body, to work in, as, and through us, and to radiate forth from us onto all we see, to all we meet, and to all we love. We know that this power and the peace that it brings is indeed the power of the divine. It's the power of God. It is my power. It is your power. And it is right now. And so it is. Thank you.